Are you a small business owner, a manager, a leader, a supervisor, someone that is tasked with letting employees go from time to time? And is that hard for you to do? Awkward? You're not comfortable doing it? Well, I'm going to show you the way I get it done, and it never bothers me in the least. Stay tuned. I'll show you what to do. So I know for a lot of personality types, letting someone go is not a comfortable thing. There's a lot of universal fears people seem to have. Some is they're afraid it's going to be a female and she's going to cry on them and they're going to feel guilty or feel bad. Some might be a male that's a little hostile. They're afraid they're going to get punched in the face. Some people are afraid, they're going to get MF'd by the employee being terminated and getting told that you all suck and they're going to sue you and all those kind of things. Those are fears that, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 100, I don't know the statistics, something like that happens. Generally, people may MF you on the way out the door. It just is what it is. But deep down, they know they did wrong. If you did progressive counseling, they know they did wrong and it's coming. I always say that if the first time an employee knows they're getting fired is when you're firing them, then you, as a leader, coach, supervisor, small business owner, employer, whatever, you have failed them. They should never be just shocked or blindsided that they're getting fired. Now, a layoff is different. Layoffs are not generally performance based. Layoffs are, I can't afford this much payroll. We're going to have to let some folks go. That's different. People that do severe performance problems, disciplinary problems, they punch their supervisor in the face, you're not writing them up, you're firing them. Sexual harassment, they're going to probably get written up and terminated at the same time. And I would caution with the sexual harassment, and I am no HR pro, but I will tell you it is not always the man harassing the woman. It's not always the man telling the woman she's got nice boobs or constantly asking her out or whatever. It very often is women chasing men around. And now in this day and age, there's a lot of same-sex harassment going on. So if you get informed of a sexual harassment type issue, do a little research first. Just make sure you're letting the right person go, because sometimes it's not as clear as you think. Now let's get on to how do you actually swing the hatchet. So it got to be when I got a corporate job, if folks had somebody that they needed to terminate, a lot of them were kind of chicken shit and didn't want to do it, so I would get the job. My questions were always the same. Have you counseled them and written them up about this subject? If they answered yes, I had no problem doing it. It's very straightforward. When I worked for this fellow at the restaurant, he told me a story about being, in his first management job. He's about 12, 13 years older than me, which makes it funny because I was his age when he got taught this lesson. And he taught me this lesson when I was the age he was. So, boy, that sounded like a Kamala Harris line, didn't it? Anyway, he tells me that the owner of the restaurant told him, hey, man, I want to show you how to fire somebody. So come out here with me while we do it. And he stood there and observed the owner of this restaurant firing someone. And then he followed it up with me. So I'm going to teach you too. So come back out here with me. So he went out into this backyard area of the restaurant. We dragged so-and-so, the employee. I can't even tell you who it was or their gender or anything about him at this point. And he drops the bomb. And it was very straightforward. Hey, man, we've talked about this. You've been written up for this. The performance hasn't changed. At this point, we're letting you go. You can gather up your stuff. You can leave now. You can come back on X day. I'll have your paycheck for you. I'm sorry it didn't work out. Take care. And that was it. There's no need to sugarcoat. There's no need to dance around the subject or talk about anything else. The decision has been made. Drop the bomb. The conversation be like 2 minutes and it's over. And I think a lot of people are afraid to do it just based on those fears of, retaliation or, an uncomfortable scene or whatever it is. So I haven't always been the sleazy used car dealer. I had a job in corporate America for a long time, and during that time I worked in small business, corporate America, and then eventually for myself. One of the things I've always had to do was let employees go. And I'm very fortunate that when I was a young man, I worked for a small business owner. He owned a restaurant, and he mentored me quite a bit on discipline and terminations. And one of the things he always said you start with is, of course, a written and oral reprimands. So if you have an employee that's not up to task, you want to spend some time with them, more like a coach or a friend, and telling them, hey, bud, this isn't up to task. Let me work with you. Let's get this improvement done. Be it an amount of work that's done, coming to work on time, failing the uniform policy, whatever it is. First, it's a casual conversation where you're going to work with them and help them out. If that does not work and they're not getting the message, that's when you give them a written reprimand. This fella, say example I have was I worked in a restaurant. The next day, if I had a crappy close and I didn't get everything done I was supposed to, he would have a list of things that were not done that should have been done. And here's the key. At the bottom of this list, it was, if these performance issues don't improve, you may be terminated. And you go over it, you sign it. So you're going to document in writing what your employee is not doing up to standard. And it also is crucial that you put that if it doesn't improve, they could be terminated. They have to be made aware that their performance is bad enough that if it doesn't improve, they could be terminated. Likewise, later in life, when I worked for a big corporation with a big handbook and all kind of rules, they always recommended the same thing. If you did a written reprimand, you would say, hey, on this day, so-and-so did this. Per our employee handbook, this is not allowed. And then their catchphrase was very similar. It was, violation of this policy or any other company policy may include further disciplinary action up to and including termination. So you would then have the choice if you were going to give them a second chance or if you were just going to fire them. So before you just fire somebody, you need to try some sort of progressive counseling. Did you talk to them? Did you explain to them what they were doing wrong? Did you help them, coach them, retrain them? If that message didn't work, did you give them a written reprimand? Let them know it's getting serious, and let them know that if they don't fix it, they may very well end up being unemployed. So that's exactly how you're going to do it. If you have an employee, let's just say the employee has a tardiness issue, you talk to them about being late, told them that's not going to work, and then you give them a written reprimand for being late. The written reprimand says, further continued tardiness may result in termination. They come in late, it's the last straw. Don't blow your stack. Don't be a jerk. Just ask them, hey, may I see you out back? Or may I see you in the conference room? Or may I see you wherever? And you say, so-and-so, we've discussed this tardiness thing. We've got written reprimands about the tardiness thing. You're late again today. Unfortunately, this is something we can't work with, so we're going to have to let you go. You can go ahead and head home now, and we will have your final paycheck for you on Tuesday or whatever day it is. Don't get emotional. It's not personal. You don't like them or dislike them. There was a policy. They knew the policy. They signed a document that said they knew the policy, and then they continued to break the policy anyway. That is on them. That is not on you. Just do what needs to be done and find yourself an employee that will show up on time. Okay, you may think it weird watching a sleazy used car dealer give you lessons on how to terminate somebody. The reality is, I've done it hundreds of times. It is what it is. It's a part of business. It's a part of any business. So you're going to want to become comfortable with doing it. I hope this video helps. Take some of the emotion out of it for you. Gives you a roadmap to how to do it successfully. I appreciate y'all watching. If you would, give me a like, a subscribe, a comment, whatever you can do. It certainly helps me. Thanks for watching, and everybody have a great day.